Alright folks, how we doing? Been a while since we were on the podcast or recording for YouTube or doing anything like that. And I'd actually forgotten Nathan was coming up this evening, but he's going to sit in now anyway. So it's actually a sad day today because this is, what day is today? Wednesday is it the 9th?
The 10th.
10th of March. So Nate's just had his profile pulled for coronavirus reasons. Well, kind of. So I don't know if anybody knows, but Nathan is classed as an elite athlete, and under the previous restrictions, I think he's been allowed to train for his upcoming fight. So he's one of the lucky people who's been able to be out and about. So he's a essential worker and
I'm a double essential worker. I'm a double essential worker, people. So I have both responsibilities on my back. So
try not to get too weighed down with it. Go on, you tell us anyway what happened.
So basically, we just got an email or a forwarded message out to promotion just to say that they had a meeting with the council and that some law was passed that no events that held before the 18th of November 2020 were to take place until this legislation was removed or whatever. I'm not too sure about the details.
Sounds like what they were saying was the exemption was like if you had already started your league.
Yeah, so basically if there was that's basically say if it was already an undergoing tournament or league or whatever it was before that date you could run and stuff, but obviously now we can't, so it's back to the drawing board, keep trying. So it doesn't really matter for me because I train anyway. I train for improvement and progression. The fights help speed up the progression, but the overall grand scheme of things, the training is just for progression. So it's not going to change much thing to me. Don't get me wrong, I had a pizza last night now. I wasn't doing another 4-8 weeks of dieting straight, so I had a pizza last night and I started back on track today, you know what I mean? I woke up, had my porridge, I've done everything exactly the same as what I done leading up to yesterday.
Do you like hazelnuts?
Oh, I fucking love hazelnuts.
Right. I made hazelnut flapjacks for that.
Oh my god.
That's all
the
I'm
best
doing.
podcast I've ever.
That's what I'm doing. I'm like when we were at the first lockdown, I was like a retired person. I was pottering around the garden, planting herbs and stuff like that. And now this one, because it's raining, I'm like
on the bacon.
Like a housewife. I'm like a walk around the Great British Bake Off.
I love hazelnuts, and there's do you know that Dash Cafe down beside Phoenix Park? It's in a container. It's like they do with like hazelnut protein balls, and I'm always getting them the peanut butter ones. I'm always in for them. So
I don't know. Every time I eat any of those protein balls, they just taste.
Oh, they're so oily and shit, but they're good. But this is a similar texture, similar.
No, have a go. There's like 9 ingredients, about 8 of which are some sort of sugar.
We're not technically.
I'm looking at the recipe. I'm going pouring the sugar like that into the thing. Going, how can there be this much?
You like raisins, yeah?
Yeah, raisins. You like raisins?
Oh, yeah.
Give me one second. I'm gonna get my coffee. While you're chewing, it's like if you're worried, by the way.
This is actually fucking. This is
good, isn't it?
This is actually banging.
I know. I made them with the idea, because I'm lifting in the morning. So what I'm doing now is now that I've got a bit more freedom and stuff like that, because my little girl is back in school. Yeah, so I'm coming up in the morning, 9:10 every morning. I'm here. I'm doing some sort of training, and on the way out the door, I said, I'll make myself some flapjacks on the way out the door. I made about, I'd say there's about how many? Not that it matters, but there's probably 16 came out of that 10 yesterday, and there's 4 left. So this is supposed to last me.
I only would have had them all in one day if I made them. My sister had to bake cookies, and I they're all she make about 12 cookies, sugary as fuck now. You know what I mean? And they're all munched by the end of the night.
I know, yeah. So much for my great intentions. But yeah, so that's it. Everybody's been sitting watching you jealously. I think kind of having a bit of training and stuff like that. It is kind of like you said, structure. It's good to have structure in your routine, because that's one of the big questions that came up. I put up a thing there about this. Just a little bit of coffee on the mat there, don't mind me. What do people want to talk about, or what do people want to hear answered? One of the things was about motivation and kind of motivating yourself to train. And I say to people all the time, you don't need motivation. What you need is structure and discipline.
Discipline is the big one for me. Like I think true discipline, motivation will come because the first day you do something, it's not getting the cycle going or getting a routine going isn't easy. So the first week or two are normally shy, And you don't have them all, you don't even want to do it, but just the discipline alone will breed good habits, and in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth week, your motivation will be there because
you'll be seeing nature then, right? Yeah.
You'll be seeing results in the work you're doing, you know what I mean? Because you've dedicated yourself to making them commitments.
It's a different time now, but I remember saying to people before, there was a couple of lads who would have said to me a few times, I just can't get up training, I'm just fine. And they spoke a little bit about their bad habits, and one of them was a fella, he said to me, it's just like, you know, it's a pint or two after work, you know, that kind of way. So I grab a pint after work, and then before you know it, then I can't, because I haven't had a pint, I can't
do
train.
this yet.
I said, well, if you thought about saying no, and he was like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, like, he goes, but the lads always ring, and they always think, well, listen, all you have to do is say no for a week, maybe two, and then lo and behold, they won't ask you again. And then the temptation is removed, and now you got your bit of addition, like. Again, it's not motivation; it's just discipline and habits, you know.
I think there's a bit of self-reward that you can get from it if you do discipline yourself and you cut out the bad stuff. Give yourself the time, you know what I mean? Give yourself them few weeks to see your change, to see your personality. Your personality will definitely change, because when you stop putting out the stuff that's giving you these bad intentions or whatever, or like you said, your point or whatever, your life will revolve in a different way around different things because you're not making them your priority. So once you start doing that, I think you'll start to see changes, and once you start to see changes, things will just open up in a different light. But you have to make yourself want to see the different things. You have to open your mind to it.
And it's really hard at the moment for everybody, because and that's, I think, that's why people are coming up with the motivation thing. Like, that was I think I got like 8 or 9 replies to the question box, you know, on Instagram. I think 3 or 4 of them were about motivation or what to do to get started and things like that. I just say to people constantly, whether it's normal times or it's and again, I'm not a great one for I'm not a great example for people. I think sometimes as well, you know, it's the same when we talk about effort and stuff like that in training. Like, how is you guys make it look so easy? Like, the advanced belts make it look so easy, and I said that's just as hard for us. We're just probably a little bit better at hiding it, and we have we can act a little bit, you know. And you kind of get used to that idea of, look, I'm struggling, but I'm okay. I'm struggling, but I'm okay. It's hard, but I'm okay. Whereas I think when you're a beginner, it's just you look around and you go, is everybody in here great but me? Yeah.
I think the uncomfortability with being like in that struggle zone, that struggle area. I think if you let it consume you and let them thoughts seep in, you're gonna create problems for yourself. I just always make the point is, like, no one's good at anything to do. First off, you can be athletic, you can have an idea of what to do,
including being disciplined.
Discipline is a trained thing. Like, I haven't drank since Christmas now. Last Christmas Day was the last time I drank. Not that I haven't inclined to drink. Like, I'm not really a big drinker, but when I'm not in a routine or when I'm not focused, I'll be more inclined to delve into the things that I don't want to be doing. So I'll be going out with my mates, I'll be doing all this, but then the minute I switch on, my mates, like, cause I do make less contact with my mates leading up to fights and that, but it's for the right reasons, because I'm obviously doing the right things, but in doing so, like, by cutting out my mates and doing the right things for myself, I get more self-satisfaction out of that, because I know I'm there's something to be said by seeing results through your own discipline, and when you do see your results and you do feel happy with where you've come, it's very self-rewarding, I think. So I would encourage people to try be disciplined, just to feel that self-rewarding feeling that I get, like, because I can't be down in the world who feels like this from making the right changes in that life.
Even the last week, so I think I was saying this to you. I can't remember, we were talking last week anyway. I'm sorry, we weren't together because there's a lot of coronavirus restrictions, so we're
actually not even beside each other now.
This is clever editing. So this was probably I think so. January, I got up New Year's morning, January 1st, and I did 100 push-ups, and I did 100 push-ups every day bar 3 in January. And the idea was I just want something simple to do. I knew we were going to be locked down for a good while.
A simple challenge, you'd say.
A simple thing, just to keep me kind of focused, because I knew I was going to be indoors a lot, because, you know, I knew I was going to be homeschooling kids and what have you. And already the vibe between sort of Christmas Day and New Year's Day, that week was grim, if you remember. It was
I actually had COVID from Christmas Day, so I would have had COVID from
super grim.
The 26th onwards. Believe it or not, I actually got my fight announced to me. Well, it was mentioned, the name was announced to me on the 34th, so it would be New Year's Eve. But I had COVID, and I don't know why, I've been training for the fight since the next day I went out back skipping. I had COVID and I was blowing out my whole, I done 10 rounds of skipping, 10 3-minute rounds of skipping and some on the punch bag. And after I did it, I didn't leave my bed for like 2 days after that because my body was fucked.
I don't think you should bring that one to medical science. I don't think that's a cure.
Yeah, so don't train when you have COVID.
No, that's not a good idea. But yeah, if you remember that was grim. Like, so I said, I'm going to do that for every day of January. I missed 3 days every day of January, and I was doing like 150 pull-ups a week, like in batches of 50, and I was in good shape. I was like, okay, I blew, you know,
the ACL.
I blew my ACL, and Ryan Gallagher blew my ACL in
scumbag
in October. So I've been kind of coming back from that as well. So I needed something to focus on. And that's a pain in the arse, you know. So I did that, and then February 1st I woke up, and I said, well, I've got to do what I do today, and I nothing. And then February 2nd I did nothing. Yeah. And then for the whole month of February, probably for the first time where I was able, I'd say the first time I was able since I was maybe 19 or 20, I did nothing.
Yeah.
For a month. Like my wife commented on it, she actually went,
this is a new record here.
This is like, what do you do? Like, and I was like, I'm doing like nothing. And initially I was like, okay, it's fine, I can take a week off. And then after a while I realised I was getting lazy. And then after a while I was like, this is actually terrible.
Like disciplining yourself to be undisciplined.
Yeah, but I was like, psychologically speaking, from like you talk about a motivational point of view, I was like more tired, demotivated, eating terribly, drinking a little bit more than I'm used to. And I was sitting around going, this is shit, like I'm out of work, I'm sitting at home, I'm not exercising, I'm boozing, this is like a cocktail of shit. Like this is horrible. Yeah, this is like a spin cycle. And I got pretty grim there towards the end of February. And listen, I've no problem saying that I don't have perfect mental health over for a long time, you know. So for the last 25 years, like I'm in and out of things like that. Yeah. But this was like a real kind of insight. It was probably the first time I've had to sit for 24 hours. So by the time I was asleep, and actually kind of almost look in the mirror,
like self-assess.
Yeah, and sit there, because usually, you know, there's at least some work to distract you and things like that. Nope, sitting at home all day, every day, and I'd say there's a lot of people in the same boat. So, February 28th, I went, okay, tomorrow's March 1st, there has to be a change. So
what did you do for yourself?
Literally wrote out a new program. I sat down, not everybody can write out a new program, but I guess you go and you get a cookie cutter off you can get something off the web. And I just said, no, tomorrow morning, start training, do something. To be fair, I was still walking because that's all anybody can do, and like the dogs still needed to be walked, and my kids still needed to be walked. But so I just said, no, I have to do something. So planned a few changes around here. You've probably seen the background there, guys. It's a new climbing wall going up for the kids. I started some stuff as well for just the strength and conditioning area there, trying to refit it and redo it. Looking good now. So just little bits of work just to try and keep myself going. Like I said, I was pottering around the bloody garden last year, and I could do stuff like that. But there's only so much that you can do. And I feel like this lockdown, I've run out of stuff.
Productivity is coming to its halt,
So any of the little, it was almost a break. I wouldn't say it was like a holiday. It was terrible in March, April, May, but it was like, okay.
I felt it was a new environment, so
it was sunny.
It actually wasn't that bad at the start, because it was sunny. You could go to the park, you could do this and break the restrictions or whatever.
I was like sliding in a hammock, you know.
It made a bad time more enjoyable. Like it made shit time less shit, but obviously winter comes in, and you know what I mean, restrictions kind of knuckle down a bit more. Then they open it up, and then we're back to square one. So
I think that's the worst part. It's that rolling nature of it as well, where you get that little bit of hope, and then it's. I'll tell you, do you know what I've stopped doing? I strongly recommend it if you are interested in making yourself feel slightly better. I've stopped looking at the news.
Yeah, I haven't looked at news reporting.
I've blocked all the journalists that on Twitter. I haven't blocked some of them actually. Keep a couple of them because I like to keep up to date with things. But I've blocked like most people. But in particular, I've blocked the people who report.
Post about it a lot.
Yeah, people who hyper post about it, which I was doing as well, which I noted as well. And I blocked people who report on like percentages and numbers.
Yeah.
So it was like, because after a while I was going,
all the statistical stuff.
711 cases, and you know, I was like, imagine having a conversation about this. Like,
That's all I found now with the news reports. I'd come in from work and I wouldn't even have to look at it. I'd just hear it in the background, numbers, like you said, percentages, and I just like, well, I don't want to hear this stuff. And for me, like, I kind of block myself in this bubble of like COVID-free environment. You know what I mean? Even though we're all living in this kind of shitstorm, but I'm trying to get that COVID-free environment. And even though it's all going on me, I'm just pretending it's not happening.
Yeah.
And like, I'm blessed that I still did work, so I could work full time, train when I'm not working, which is more or less full time. So my spare time was taken up to practically fuck all hours throughout the day. So I'm one of the lucky ones.
That was one of the I was jealous of you, like we're training obviously as well, but like even work, I'm jealous of people.
I am really one of the lucky ones, and that's why I'm very grateful that. Like, I know obviously now the fight's cancelled now, but I had such a positive light to shine towards, shine over me, and I was using all that for just my own progress, and just even like you said for mental health. You know what I mean? Like,
having a goal, having a focus.
Having a goal. Yeah. When I'm unmotivated, I'm not a good person. You know what I mean? And like you said, when you're not motivated, less self-discipline, you'll have a beer, you'll have bad food, and one. I think now today, if I didn't come up here today, after I ate my pizza last night, tomorrow I probably would have been all over the shop. But I'm just trying to, like I said, keep that discipline and just keep things going, but more or less keep the structure. That's my big one.
I remember I was talking to Tom King last week. If you want to go back through the YouTube channel, I can do like a professional broadcaster thing. Go back and check out our episode. Do you know what I was going to say there? What I'll do is I'll put a link into the show with Tom King below, but I probably won't because I completely forget about it. But
Juice can do that.
You can go and check it. You can link it in the comments. And I was talking about something about motivation, and he actually turned around and he just went, I don't think motivation exists. And I went, actually, that pretty much sums up what I think as well.
You either want to do it or you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even when it's like, I think like I'm always really, I'm always like, I think people tend to think of this like idea of motivation as like some kind of like lightning bolt, you know.
Fills you full of this energy.
Oh yes, here we go.
I think
you will have that one day. For example, today I got up and I made a lot of flapjacks. Yeah. But tomorrow I will not make flapjacks because I won't be motivated.
I think motivation. I understand that point you said, but I think for me when I was younger, I think younger people are easily motivated than older people, because when you're young you're easily impressionable and you believe in your dream. Like your dreams seem far much wilder as a kid. You know what I mean? And the harsh reality of life probably doesn't say it as much. You're not as clued into the adult world. So for me when I was younger, even when I first joined MMA or whatever, I was very easily impressionable. You know what I mean? So I was using everything to motivate me, to give me that little bit of spring. But you know what I mean?
I think that's good though. Like, that's short-term goals, isn't it?
That's what it was.
Get up one day and today I will do this. Today I will drink more water is a really good. And that's actually literally something that I have to do for myself. Every now and again I get up and I say, today I'm going to drink like, I put a glass beside the sink and I say, I'm going to fill that 3 times and I'm going to drink it. And that's a huge thing.
I'm on the bottled Joey Maddie's bottled water.
The giant 5 litre.
Yeah, I'm not on the 5 litre Ashbeck water.
Ashbeck. The thing you used to bring in, remember like that? I used to be pissed off because he'd like put it in the bin without crushing it, put the lid on and everything.
It's a full Ashbeck.
It's like a 25 litre bin and a fifth of it is covered by the old fucking bottle, like, you know.
I'm 2 litre bottles. I now I drank 2 litre when it's gone, and so it's I only drink out of plastic bottles because my water intake is recorded through every bottle I drink. You know what I mean? It just helps me remember.
That's one of the things actually that comes up all the time when I speak to people. There's 2 things actually that people do really, really regularly. When they do it really, really regularly, they turn around and they say, that makes me feel amazing and I can literally feel the effect of it. And they also don't do it enough. So one is water.
You feel the first result and then you go,
yes, I feel amazing, let's never do it again. One is water intake and the second one is stretching and mobility. So people, when they get like a real...
I'm like a granddad. I'm like, go out and stretch, kids. Go out and do your stretches. So I'm just, since I started training fucking full on, I really felt like the the stretching side of things. When I started making pro debut around that time, that's when I got really into it, because obviously you have that pro state of mind, you're training your body, you want to push yourself to the limit, and that was when I started really upping my stretching programs and stuff like that, and obviously the water, because that goes part and parcel with it.
It's terribly inflexible compared to what I used to be. Of different like mobility, but like I started with taekwondo, and every taekwondo class you started with stretch, and at the end it was static stretch, PNF stretching. Like, so I could do, when I was with like 24, 25, I couldn't quite get the box splits, but I had the front splits like on both sides, and easy kick to head, no problem. And I can still do that kind of stuff. But if you ask me to do stretching now, I'm a bits. And a guy said to me one time, he said, you know, I've never met anybody who could do this like splits or near enough to the splits. It doesn't have to be the splits itself, like all the way down to right to the ground, who has like low back problems. So like there's like
he's never met like because the
mobility is there instead of
the looseness of the hamstrings and the back, they all link together, so it's a chain.
And like same thing, even my shoulders are very tight. My left shoulder's gone tight as hell now. So if I do any sort of pushing exercises now, pushing, the next day I'm in ribbons, and I say, I should be stretching. I should be stretching, but I don't. I don't know why.
I have good mobility in the shoulders at the minute. I think I actually went through, I'm preaching about stretching and shit, but I fall off the wagon like everyone else every now and then. But I went through a stage of like, I go through phases of only stretching my upper body, and then I go through a phase of only, so I'll neglect here and do this, and then I'll neglect this and do that, you know what I mean? It's like the bad cycle, but I'm kind of neglecting my legs at the minute, so I need to, it's on camera now that I'm saying,
you have to do it now.
I have to do it, I have to start.
I do like a mobility session most days. We do something.
I just done a mobility there with Graham. I didn't get him to do any kneel. I just wanted him to put my body through the motions, just so I can go through the motions without putting too much strain on my body. I get like phases of it as well, where I will do more than most. But I do keep on top of it, and the way I actually keep on top of it, top tip. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm going to edit this video, like sort of, you know, like fire and explosion. That's it.
Top tip! At this stage, just use it as your warm up, and then you don't have to worry about it. So if you're training 3 times a week, at the very least, your mobility session, you're getting 3 mobility sessions in a week. Because like people say, why you could just do this watching the TV. I'm like,
you can't, but you don't want to be doing that
when you're ready for TV, you're doing it, sit down and relax.
That's your chill out time. You do need to like separate your time throughout the day. There is times to be switched on for your body, and there's also times to be zoned out and not
I have a little leg timer though. I do have a little thing, it's a little IKEA timer. You just turn it, beep, it starts for when I'm sitting at the computer, I have a 20-minute timer. I turn it and it beeps, and after the 20 minutes I have to get up. You have to stand up. Sometimes I turn it back over. I don't. But I'm in the
busy obviously,
But most of the time I will do it. But just to try to get up and just move a little bit more and just try to
get your brain in a different, wake it up in
But of course, then there's times where I will sit and I will turn into a rock. And I really notice it. And one of the things that I really miss, I miss 2 big things about not training. One is the feeling the next day, in a physical sense, I suppose, right? The feeling the next day of waking up sore. You know when you've had a really hard session and you get up the next morning and you go, oh, I love that feeling. That's actually my favourite. Except for when it's
really sore. No, I get that.
But like that overall body ache that you get out of jiu-jitsu, I actually miss that. I really miss that. And
because
the other thing
you put that body, you know you put your work in. It's simple as that. Like.
It obviously is. That's my little reward for you. What a reward. That sounds weird.
Pain.
Sadomasochism. But then the other thing that I miss is actually the feeling of mobility. What I mean by that is like now if I turn my neck left or right, I feel a little bit pinched, not too bad. My back feels tight. I don't feel like loose. And I know it's because I haven't had people like stacking me and stuff like that.
One thing I've been missing now, it's just this to everyone who's watching this sounds ridiculous, the warm up. A jiu-jitsu warm up or a wrestling style warm up is one of the best warm ups you can do for your body, because you're rolling through your muscles, you're doing a bit of strength work at the end, you're stretching your muscles all in the meanwhile, just warming up. So like I find when you
like
don't
the worst black belt ever. No black belt wants to do the warm up.
I know it, but honestly and as of late, like I'll even in training, when I'm training MMA, I'll rock up to the gym a half an hour early, and just skip and loosen out to be ready for the class starts at 11.
Warm up to warm up.
Warm up, and like I've already upped the heart rate by 11 o'clock. I'm ready to go. Be loosen out even more, so I'm extra warmed up, do some technique, and then we spar. So by the time sparring comes around, I've gone through my full mobility cycle or whatever I'm doing, and I'm ready to go. And it's injury prevention I'm looking for, because
that's the number one thing.
Injury prevention is the biggest one. When you're sparring at a high rate and a high level every day, your body does ask a lot of itself. So if I can stop them little niggles getting in just by how I approach my training, which is just arrive early and leave late, you know what I mean? That's the kind of...
Almost every single time I've got injured in the last few years, I can relate it to a cold night and a bad warm-up. I can always...
Cold night.
So like when I'm here, maybe I'll warm up a little bit and then I'll cool down, I won't drill, I won't move around, I don't coach and then I'll jump into sparring.
Yes.
Always the same.
I find the cold nights are the ones where, because it's cold, your attitude to warm up is like, let's just get this done over. You don't even warm up properly, and then in the end, you actually do end up.
That's when you get your
nickel or whatever. Like it's not good. But it's always when the summer is hopefully actually now, when we do it, we can open back up. It'll be summertime.
I was gonna say, look, that was one of the things I was gonna talk about before you arrived. Actually, was when I. It doesn't look like I'm not saying another news. I said it blocked all the journalists, but I actually checked the news.
Of opening up, like
they're saying there tonight, like, so there's not going to be a huge lifting until May, right? So, I would hope. I'm still hopeful early May. I would hope like May 2nd or something. You know, I think that's the first day. But how many of us will be allowed back at that stage, and who will be allowed back? Will it be just competitive athletes? Will be just all this kind of stuff? I don't know, but I'm still hopeful. Like my
Look, it can't get any worse than what it is now, so it can only get better.
You know
what I mean?
To be fair, it can, and it can only drag on.
It can drag on. That's the worst side of it, but it can only drag on for so long. I'm trying to use the positive side. You know what I mean?
I suppose it's difficult to be positive at the moment.
It is, but I try to I'll assess everything negative and just try and make positive out of it, just for my own self, just to make it not visible for me and others around. You know what I mean? I might sound like that annoying positive guy all the time. No, it's just cheesily like positive. You know what I mean? It's cornily positive, but
you see, there is a negative circle you can get into too, and that's like we're saying to you about the numbers people. Like again, friends of mine who I know and who I like, and I've watched them. Like they're actually out now. Like I don't want to say they're monitoring people, but they are. They're looking at other people's behaviours. Like, and you can see like they're posting on their social media. Saw people out today, saw gangs of people here, and gangs of kids there, and gangs of, oh my God, it's really, and I'm not saying that that's right, I'm not saying it's right that there's gangs of kids or gangs of people or people out swimming or doing whatever. What I mean is, it's a really terrible way to be, is to be constantly on the lookout.
Looking for
problems.
I find them people, they have I'm gonna be critical here, but it's like they have something wrong inside themselves that they don't want to see other people have some sort of happiness in some way, and I think
I don't know. I think it would be fair though, because of the way things are. I think a lot of people have been programmed that way by the news.
I know them people who are doing things by the book are somewhat only doing it just to brag about it.
There is an element.
You know what I mean?
I suppose, yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Fair play to you. You're not going outside the 5k. You're not breaking social distancing, but like don't try and make me feel bad because you do it better than I do, you know what I mean?
I think
everyone has a different life story.
Yeah, I suppose that's what I'm trying to get at, I suppose, you know, that is what they're kind of doing, you know. And look, again, there's a lot of people who are really afraid, and they're rightfully afraid because they've got relatives or they themselves are sick or anything like that. But there is an element of kind of people watching each other's behaviour, and it's not very nice. And even when the kids are going back to school, listen, you can't turn around and say the experts are right 1 minute and then not trust the experts the next minute. So if they're saying the kids can go back to school on balance, right,
things have to be getting better, you know.
So we should be able. But again, there's people like not sending their kids to school, and that's all their choice. I mean, it's up to them.
Each their own and all that.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody should be making other people feel guilty for wanting to kick their kids out the door in the morning because kids are struggling.
I think like people who are kind of doing that, I don't know whether they're like, I don't know. It's hard to say why they be doing things like that, because obviously if they don't live the life that you live, they don't have they don't feel the emotions you feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't have their
I think it's easy.
Patience is probably different. You know what I mean?
It would be easy to sit at home.
It's easy to sit on that.
Yeah,
it's easy to sit on that when you're behind the screen because you're self-empowered. You have yourself entitled when you're on the keyboard. Like it's.
But there's realities there as well, I suppose. But there's realities in both sides. We're all missing training. We're all missing normal life. But no, in fact, we're not going to talk about COVID anymore. I'm not going to do that because at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. It's not like fact.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
that's what everyone has their own views. Like you have them.
And we're all really, really misinformed, even though we're all reading about it.
I even think the government are all misinformed because to me personally, I felt like they were just feeding us reproduced like information. Like,
yeah, well, you get the same thing. That's the worst part. I think is like again, look, we won't talk about it anymore. We're going to get off. Yeah, we won't talk positive vibes, but again, we're also like every time you turn on the RTE website, for example, RTE.ie, right? I'm not advertising that or anything, but like if there's a news story about something like a new variant or something like that, they've got like a blue block at the top with the highlighted story. And below that, you'll find like 5 related stories. So let's say, for example, right, Ireland beat Scotland on Saturday, right, and they win their first match of the Six Nations, or second match of the Six Nations, right. Below that, there'll be 5 related stories because they got to fill it. Hey, this is the important big story of the day. So it's the same with COVID, right? They have some big story, and then they have to have 5 more. So they have to produce 5 more, and you end up reading every one of them, and you get kind of warped into, you get kind of your head wrapped around. So at the end of it all, now I just look up, if I see it every couple of days, and then I go, no, do you know what? Push it out of your minds. Yeah,
I just try not to think about it all. I try not to have these even conversations with people.
Yeah, that's why I'm actually even struggling to try and even get off this conversation because I keep coming up with something to say.
There's nothing good that comes from a bar. Because I'm not even getting frustrations off the chest for saying this. It's just repeated stuff. That's what I've been repeating since last year. You know?
Yeah, it's literally the same conversation. Yeah. Okay, so let's change tack then. Let's go because we've got probably maybe 10 minutes left. Let's talk training then one more time. So we'll talk to you about training. Your training there. Are you still checking your heart rate? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm just me notifications come up and found tonight.
All right. So I thought that was your
just swiping them off. My heart rate
because you were obsessed with your heart rate there for about a week ago.
Yeah, what's my heart rate now? Let's see what my resting heart rate is. We'll see if I can surprise everyone. 64 beats per minute 4 minutes ago. So that's a fairly solid heart rate now for resting.
So I'll tell you a quick anecdote about my heart rate, right? So I was in for like
50 now.
I was in for there you go. That's a bit more like I think you're probably more around there. 64 is probably a few. Well, you're a bit agitated running around. I had to go for an ECG for something before I had to go on. I had like a full checkup and this thing and stress test and all this kind of stuff. And I lay down to do the ECG and the nurse went, okay, you're very fit. And I went, oh, okay, I keep.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. So it's grand. So we go in and the doctor's meeting us straight away afterwards, and I go in and sit down. And he goes, He said, do you run or what do you do? I said, well, I'm a martial arts coach. And he's like, oh, very cardiovascularly fit. And I went, yeah, I don't do any cardio, but yeah. And he was like, well, okay, because I was going to do one of 2 things. I'm either going to congratulate you on your fitness or ring an ambulance. Which should I do? And I said, well, what is it? He goes, well, it's your resting heart rate was like 38, 39. And I went, oh, that's really, really low. And so I was like, oh, yeah. You know, so I was bragging about it for about 2 months. And then I rang my sister one day and we were chatting away and she was like, I was like, hey, I'm not resting heart rate at 38. She goes, oh God, you got that too? And I went, right. That's no. That's go see a cardiologist basically straight away. You have to go and see because that's in the family. Like it's like it's too low. Like it's like it's something I don't know what it is because I never went. But I was like, all right, okay. Right, she had to go get it checked out. And she doesn't run a day on her. She never run a day in her life.
You're like your own version of an Iron Man.
So basically, she's also an elite athlete, despite the fact that she doesn't train. So it was like, all right, okay. So that was my big land. Was like I thought I was like, yeah. I was going home to Emer and I was saying, resting heart rate at 38. Don't know if you noticed this. I was like, then I'm thinking like, I was and then I'm rolling the next night. And I'm like, fuck. But I'm gonna rest now, we're at 38. What's going on?
190 tomorrow.
Jesus. Oh Christ.
Oh yeah, I know. My heart rate thing, I've been focusing on it, like I said, focusing on it a lot, just to try to get it back down to in my intervals. And I can't explain. Mate, it could be. I'm not scientifically up to the point where how it all works, but I think I had a low carb day. And when I walked out, then I was like, obviously my heart rate was because I was gassing earlier. I had less to give. I was just bollocks, you know what I mean? And I had nothing to give. This is actually only on Monday, and my heart rate was going up But when I was resting in between, it wouldn't come down as low as I normally would have got it down, because I thought I get it down back to like maybe 120. So getting up to like 180, 190 through my scrambles, and then getting down to like 110, 120.
I wonder what that is in food terms.
Yeah,
so I know what that is in terms of energy systems and stuff like that.
I understand that, but it was more so when I didn't have that full of carb in me. I was more inclined.
Well, I guess you're working harder because you're
working off what fat stores and stuff you have or whatever. Yeah. But I was partially to bring it down to maybe it was I don't know, and maybe somebody who's watching would know what the difference in heart rate would be between burning protein or fat versus burning glycogen. So, quick science primer, you'll burn glycogen first. Yeah. Then you've got
so then you go into your fat stores.
But what I probably think it was, now that I'm thinking of it, is that because I was physically fatigued, my mental fatigue was maybe. That physical fatigue was catching up my mental fatigue. So even though I thought I was getting my heart rate down through all my same routine of breathing, because my mental, I probably wasn't even putting as much
stress levels are higher.
My stress levels were higher, and I didn't actually recover in between.
That could make a lot of sense.
I'm after just putting that together there now, because I'm thinking of it.
There you go, yeah. So bingo.
So my hypothesis.
So we can put that in the science books then, and definitely. Yeah, but that probably is.
See, I'm mad. I just love sports science. Like I don't. I just love the science behind training. Why I feel this way one day based off what I eat, how I can perform a different way, and why I do this to get a result like that. You know what I mean? Not all the stuff you do. So like, for example, plyometric training, and just like me and Barry did, we did a recovery session there last week, and just basically spring the bar down slow and then bouncing it back up, like things like that. It's just simple movements and quick fire muscles that will benefit me in fighting and make me more explosive. But just the training that goes into that, I find that fascinating. You know what I mean?
It's like it's weird because it's one of those things that I don't want to say I stopped studying about like 8 or 9 years ago, but I stopped.
You took in enough information that you knew what you needed from it, so you developed from what you
and every now and again I'll change something up because I'll read something that's interesting, so I'll go.
You will take in some new information.
But basically, most of it hasn't changed since the 70s, and that sounds like a really broad. And then people are going to go, "That's bullshit." Don't give me.
It has to come from a direct system.
All that's really changed is the finer details of how to do it, but the actual broad strokes are there since like.
But then you'll get
Vorshansky in the 1970s, like the Russian sports science teams in the 1970s. It's that, most of the books, almost a bold claim, but maybe somebody else. People might correct me on this, but probably every sports science book or strength and conditioning book
is modelled off another one.
Yeah, they come from that route.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's like I suppose it's a lineage of knowledge.
Yeah, and that's what people say. Oh yeah, but do I need to go to college? And I'm like, you do. You do and you don't. You could learn on the job.
You do to get the understanding of it and get your structure. You know what I mean? Learn how to structure things.
Yeah, because if you don't base it off that good platform, I think, of understanding, you're just kind of running other people's routines.
It's scrappy. It's a bit scrappy. Like.
The equivalent maybe being a chef in a McDonald's cup.
I understand that.
But and listen, there's
people out there who probably have done it themselves and
there's great stuff comes out of that kind of McDonald's variety of stuff like what you do. But understanding that, I think, and I always try to teach people as I'm coaching them as well. I always say, look, this is why it happens and this is why we're doing things without filling their brains too much.
I would rather understand why things are working rather than just you do this because I tell you to. If you say do this because we're doing this because this is what's going to make this happen, and for this to happen, this is going to happen, then I'll be like,
that's usually what I do. That's what we did since we were like 15. I remember like even sort of being in places like where guys would go like just cause, like almost like withholding the information for you. and you know, like, you're such a.
I'm gonna probably these are probably the type of people who I was gonna lead into there when you mentioned that everything comes from the kind of science art, but then you still get these outliers who throw in this weird spin on fitness and stuff, and they bring their own ideas in that are just bogus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's still that. There is.
And they're looking down at you if you're not doing their trendy shit. You know what I mean? But in reality, they're just looking at an Instagram video. That's fucking cool. I'm gonna, like you said,
the amount of times. That's exactly what I was gonna say. The amount of times I've come into people and do you know, you've probably seen like people like this, and again, they always seem to be the same type of personality, but we won't go into that. When you walk to them, you say like, and they'll say, so you've probably seen it in jiu-jitsu anyway, like, you know, and do you do such and such a thing? And I go, what's that? And they go,
you don't know?
Oh my god!
You don't know.
You watch Arrested Development? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nah, but
like the guy with the.
You've told me good things about the show actually.
But that's they tend to do. They sit around and say that, and I'm like, when you read you read actually about it. So okay, I'll go and see what this is about. When you read it, you go, oh, it's just another type of that.
Yeah.
Or you look at it and you go, why bother? It's time consuming. I don't think I'll bother with that. And I suppose that's what I mean. But when I haven't learned anything new, when I haven't tried it, like haven't gone out and studied anything new.
Well, why fix it if it's not broke?
Well, that's the thing. Like, and I'm open to new ideas. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like where I go, well, how much is that really going to benefit me in the long run? And at the end of the day, if I need that level of granular expertise, I'll just send you somewhere else. So I'll just like nutrition. I always say with nutrition, people ask me about nutrition all the time. I say, if you're really, I can give you some broad strokes, but if you're really, really interested, here's the guy's number. There you go. Because
there's an expert for everything. You know
because there's no point in asking the guy who just gave you like hazelnut and sugar, flapjacks, and baked banana muffins today as well. It's delicious. Do you know what? We're gonna have to shut up shop. That was fairly different, fairly interesting. So what are we saying? May around then for
hopefully May, that's the plan anyway. But I'm actually getting my MRI on Friday, so
you'll be ready.
I'm ready to go on any European promotion from there. So
I'm ready to go. If anybody's watching out there, like the 12 people who are going to watch this video, one of them is going to be like.
The sheriff did the right person to be a follower of a follower who follows the.
By the way, Nathan Kelly's available for any time.
I know, but look, it's something positive. Like if this fight doesn't go ahead, I'm clear to do anything. So, but like I said,
how many shows have you been to or been booked on, or we've had fighters booked on that get cancelled even in normal times, where there's a problem with the venue?
I've actually only ever had one, and it was against Bushido, the ginger fella, Tommy. Remember I fought.
Oh, guy from Limerick.
Can't remember his name.
It doesn't matter. But that was the whole show was pulled, right?
The whole show was pulled. That's the only time it's happened to me. Unless there's not anything else happened.
I'd say probably in the
Alexander O'Sullivan. I was meant to fight Alexander O'Sullivan. So he pulled out injury. So that's a different category. I ended up fighting Aaron Maguire then, and then Bushido was pulled. But that was a bit dodgy itself. Bushido down in Cork. That was a bit sussy in its own way.
The amount. One of these days, I'm going to sit down with every MMA coach and we're going to write a history of the dodgy shows in Ireland. The kind of. Really? Those ones? Really what happened?
Like the shows that some shows like that getting run nowadays, you know what I mean?
But look, they're always going to be there. It's part of the business, part of the game. Look, that's that. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, everybody. Hopefully, a very different and impromptu.
Yeah, like this is on the spot. This is not acting here. Yeah. This is all real.
We don't have this scripted. No, that's it. Okay, well look, that'll do. So good luck, and what did we say we'd say? Good luck anyway, right? And sure, look, what am I saying? Good luck to you for it. I hate that shit.
Yeah, they get you.
It's very obvious that I'm going to see you like
again,
tomorrow, and you know, but we have to do that thing where we have to pretend that we're like, this is not a professional podcast. This is just
impromptu podcast
and a microphone. And what's going to happen is just before and after this video, Emmet's brilliant intro that he did. I always feel like embarrassed that I have to put that in front of the videos, and I'll put it because it's brilliant. And it's all the music and it's the two little animated guys rolling up, and then it's just me sitting.
Who's in that intro actually?
Emmet, big Emmet, tall Emmet.
No, did he?
Yeah, so he's a brilliant. He actually did. I'm gonna advertise your video editing things as well. So if he did an open day for my wife in Gaelcolosh Rockran in Donamead.
And what, like video creation and stuff
So
like
when
that?
they couldn't do like an open day for first years, they took loads of videos on their phone, he put it all together for them. So it was like an online open day.
Okay.
Brilliant work, really, really good work. So Emmet, I'm going to put a link up to your show reel at the bottom of it. Am I going to do that? Really? Am I? I will try to put. No, I'll definitely do it now because I have to put Emmet's thing up.
Just add some flames, fire and flames.
I'm going to put a link to
explosions.
Emmet's thing if you want any video editing or anything like that done. He did the intro to this podcast and to our technique videos that we do as well. And the video was actually that he did for Gaglash Rock was actually unbelievable as well. So we may as well push our local businessmen.
That's it.
Alan Murray is a great postman as well, super. So if you
No
need your
one delivered post bad and Alan
and
Murray, I tell you.
always go to Nathan's Till at Aldi. That's where you're going to get to.
That's if I'm not hiding in the back.
So who else can we push? I don't know. It's definitely not. And obviously sign up for the online membership. That's what I should have done.
Yeah, that's what you should open with that.
Okay, here we go. I'm learning all the time. All right, that'll do, guys. See you later.
See you later.